whiz round. Yep, and I think we're live. Hello, I'm Stephanie Lester, fibre artist.
And I'm Anne-Marie Cheung.
Hi, everybody. Right, okay, why are we here? Well, Anne-Marie and I are members of art collective called the Bloomz. And we got together at the start of lockdown, really, by doing a course. And at the end of this month, we're putting on the Bloomz second online international art show. And we thought it would be great if we came on and you got to know us a bit better. So hopefully you'll then want to come along and meet us, see our art, get to know us a bit better. And over the next, I suppose 3 weeks, we're going to bring all of the artists on to get to know you individually on Thursdays and Saturdays at 4 o'clock. So same time, just on a Thursday and a Saturday. So put that in your diary. And hopefully you'll come back and join us and get to know us and put any questions in, because we're willing to answer whatever you've got to ask.
4 o'clock UK time.
Oh, yes. Now, you see, once again, we're international, and I forget about it time and time again because we think UK time. Well done, Anne-Marie. Yeah, perfect. UK time, 4 o'clock. So, so what time is it for you? That's the point, Anne-Marie.
It's 11 a.m. I'm Eastern Standard Time, New York time.
Okay, right, yeah. Fine. There we go. So, and usually we find 4 o'clock hits as many people as possible, don't we, in terms of our time zones and everything. Mm-hmm. So hopefully it's good for all our listeners and everything as well, because this is going to be going out on Facebook, LinkedIn and everywhere else. So that's perfect. Anything else I need to say? Oh, I suppose if you want to find out more about us just generally, then the website is thebloomz.co.uk, and that's Bloomz with a Z as opposed to with an S. And you can find out all about us, and you can also get tickets for our show. The tickets, there's no charge, but you do need to register in order to gain entrance. So, okay. Let's crack on, Anne-Marie. So I know you, but we've never met. I know you from our group, and this is good for me, give me a chance to get to know a bit more about you as well as everybody else. So I know that you do masses of things of learning. You're not just an artist, you do scuba diving, yoga, you name it. You've got 2 children. So my question to you is, when did you come back to art, or have you never left it?
Well, it's a little bit of a long story, I would say.
I like a long story.
At the very beginning, I always wanted to be an artist. That was what I, right after high school, the only school that I applied to was the Ontario College of Art, which is a rather kind of prestigious school over here.
Lovely.
And I got in. That was the only school I applied to. I got in. I did a 4-year program studying art. And then after that, I traveled around a lot and had art shows, lived the sort of the typical starving artist lifestyle. And eventually I thought, I'm going to have to get a real job. So I ended up taking some computer courses in web design and multimedia. And I ended up becoming a multimedia designer. And I started my first full-time job at a company, and I was laid off, luckily. Like, it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me.
These things happen, don't they? And you think, ooh, that was a good thing.
Well, because I ended up working from home then as a freelancer. So, and it was a time when my first child was born, so I was able to be at home with her and work at home, and that went on for it was like 20 years.
Wow.
So during that time, I wasn't really doing any fine art, hardly ever. But I was doing the design work, which is, I know it's artistic, it's creative, but not fine art. So, I went back just the last 2 years, I went back to school to study visual effects and editing and 3D character design and animation. Because I thought I'm going to re-enter the workforce and I'm going to get a full-time job as this. So then during that time, my mom passed away rather kind of unexpectedly. Well, she was old, but it wasn't expected. And I finished another year of school because I didn't know what else to do. I was kind of, still kind of in shock and kind of grieving a bit.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what to do. And then, so then after that, I just decided, I want to get back into fine art and make that my, because it's my passion.
Yeah. And
I wanted to be following that path. And that was when, I got into the Impala group with you. So I met you, and knowing that it is possible to have a career as a fine artist and make a good living at it.
Absolutely.
So I decided that was what I wanted to do. Get into art full time.
I mean, I guess that's it. For ages, you think it's not actually a possible thing to have as to bring money in, so you think you need to do another job rather than be an artist. But also that you sang about things happening, like you're made redundant, and then sadly your mum passing away. But that also makes you stop and think, doesn't it, about what am I doing? What do I want to do? And so excellent.
Yeah, it makes you really realize what's really important in your life and what is your true path and what you need to be doing. And I'm also doing a yoga teacher training right now, so I'll also be teaching yoga and meditation as well. So it's right now I feel like I'm in perfect alignment of where I want to go in life.
Yeah, the
two things. Long time to figure out, but
tell me about it.
It's the journey, right? It's not the end, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's right. I mean, I was saying to someone the other day, it's not like I've never been an artist through my life. You realize that all the things that you were doing were kind of training you and leading you to this. It's not like you suddenly go, oh, now I'm going to do this. You suddenly realize that all those things that you were doing were a part of this. And now it's all come together. So yeah, absolutely. Perfect. So you've got an angel behind you, have you?
Yes, that's one of my angels.
So angels seem to come up a lot. You did a project of 100 angels, and I think that was a digital project. And you've got an angel collection at the moment, and you've also got an angel book coming out soon. So is this the way that you're heading now, or is this just that's what's now and then it might all change? How's it going with that side of things?
Well, yeah, this is just what I'm presently doing. This is to honor my mom, who she loved angels and fairies, and she would often gift me these little angel statues. So I have like a whole collection. I say, no, Mom, I don't want any more, please. It's okay. But yeah, that's my present direction with the angels.
But it's not necessary. It might change, because that's the one thing that I look at. I've seen mermaids and beautiful creations, and that's in sometimes some quite magical things. And sometimes to you, the artist, it seems perfectly logical how all these things connect together. But maybe to like me, I think, oh, angels, how does that, do you, as far as you're concerned, are these all connected, or are you thinking, no, I'm moving, I'm going from that to that? Or are you now just, because you sang about your alignment with your training at the moment and your angels, do you still think that will progress onto something else, or do you not know?
Well, they're all kind of connected in a way. They're all kind of, the theme is kind of spiritual in a way. There was a series I did on trees, for example, a while ago. So I tend to work in series.
Yeah.
But they're all kind of related, I would say.
In fact, Sammy's just said, love the digital artwork, but really loving the painted angels. There's a real ethereal presence. Yeah. So absolutely. And I was, when I look at your work, it glows. And I kept thinking, because obviously I'm not seeing it in person, I'm seeing it on the screen. And I was thinking, are you using metallics? Are you using luminous paints? Or is it just a technique that you're deliberately going for that glow? Or did it just happen?
With some of them, I use a metallic paint for highlights, and it's also the way that I use the paint too creates kind of a glow. I can show you one little one here. You want to look?
Oh, yeah, a bit of shine on there.
But, yeah, it's varnished too, so you can't really.
No, I can see it now. Yeah,
but you can see some. You can see where the metallic paint is. I'm not sure if you can really see it, but yeah. But then it's with the blending of the paint. I think you mean at the top, where I blend the paint. It creates a glow. Yeah, this is acrylic paint, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, no, it has got that absolute glow. Absolutely love, like Sammy says, absolutely loving. But you've also, because I know it's not paintings, it's a sketchbook or for people to colour in. But that you've brought that one out, isn't it? It's the Angels book, which is coming out, but it's your and I always say this word wrong. Mandalas, say it for me.
You know what? I have a hard time doing it too. I think it's the mandala or mundala. I've heard before. Mundala is probably like
whatever you want it to be.
I've heard it pronounced so many different ways, but
yeah, it doesn't matter, does it? As long as we understand what we mean, that's fine. But I've seen. I mean, you've done some beautiful paintings of those as well, and I have to say, we all like to have where people could recognize our work, and certainly I absolutely recognize yours the moment I see it. I mean, and I couldn't necessarily describe it, but I know it the moment that I see it. But you rules, is that something that you just do in between, or is this something that you do, or is that something you used to do? Where did that come into your current workflow, as it were?
Well, it's kind of been, I've done it in the past, and it's carried over. And well, the mandala comes from a Sanskrit word meaning circle, and it's one of the best descriptions I found is a container of essence.
Oh, right.
Nicely. So yeah, with all the I find them very relaxing myself to do, and it's very the process is very meditative. It's kind of like doodling a bit, just where you
don't look anything like that, Amber.
Yeah, well, I don't have to think when I do it. It's more intuitive, more of like it's a doodle for me, a relaxing process. And so I have a bunch of drawings of mandala drawings that I've done, and I'm compiling them in a coloring book right now. And I have the cover, which is here.
Yeah, beautiful.
So there'll be drawings of mandalas, which will be out very soon because I've almost got them all done.
Excellent.
I'm aiming to have 44. That's a magic angel number.
Oh, okay. There seem to be lots of different magic numbers. In fact, Angel, who's watching now as well, she was saying the other day that 137 was a magic number as well. But perhaps it's different in different, like angel numbers. And I know, I think Mac is very into angels as well at the moment, isn't she? One of our group, one of the Bloomz. So, yeah, I love this idea. I do love numbers myself. It's like at the moment we have the Bloomz are a core of 13. Now, I love the number 13, and it scares the hell out of some people, doesn't it?
It's actually a lucky number.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. So when people look at your art, what would you like them to see or to take away? What would you like to leave them with when they see your art?
I would like them to get a feeling of joy and a sense of magic.
Oh,
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
I think everybody needs a little bit more of that in their lives.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, well, certainly, yeah, magic is, well, we've got magic numbers and beautiful art, which bring magic into our life. It brings joy. And, who doesn't want a bit more joy in their life? Absolutely. So what are you going to bring to the show, Anne-Marie?
It'll be all angels at this show.
Okay, nice.
And I should have my coloring book ready, so I'll be showing that too.
Excellent. Oh, brilliant. So in fact, people who come to the show will be able to actually buy the angels. And would the colouring book be available on a website that they would also be able to download and things as well? Or
hopefully, yeah. It's being published on Lulu, but it will also be available on Amazon eventually, and all the other sites.
Yeah. So that's nice and easy for everybody, because you're in Canada, but wherever anybody is, I know I bought a book the other day via Lulu, and the person was in New Zealand. So, that's easy to do, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Excellent. So if people want to look you up at the moment, where would they actually find you?
You can go to my website. It's annemariechung.com. And I also have a VIP list that you can join while you're there if you want to keep in touch with me.
Okay, excellent. VIP list. That sounds cool.
Yeah, for VIPs.
VIPs. I'm just having a look down the list here to see whether. Elisa was saying, Anne-Marie, you are an inspiration. Alignment is everything. Lovely. Oh, Angel says, we're on her TV. I'm not sure that's a good thing, Angel.
So we're on a big screen?
I'm not sure that's good. And Sammy says, the glow of the artist being left in the artwork. Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're leaving your glow on the art to perfect. Brilliant. Oh, just checking here. Got a little bing. Okay. So is there anything else that you want to tell everybody who's watching, listening, or on
make TV? Sure you get your tickets for the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to say again, in case people who are on now weren't here at the beginning, that the tickets are free, but you must register. The only way of actually getting the link to come into the show, you need to register for the tickets. You can get those via our Bloomz website. There's a big red ticket button at the top that you can press and go to. And as we're talking here, I mean, I actually am in my studio where I will be when I'm at the show, and you will be able to come into the show and see us in our studios like we are here and talk to us. We'll also be playing a demo of our work, but, we can chat to you and talk to you in the same way that we are now. So you get to, hopefully, by meeting us now, and we're going to be sending out brochure and things, you get to either pick the people you want to go and see or come around and see us all, so we can tell you more about our art, which will be great.
So, let's talk a little bit about you, Stephanie. What inspires you to create a particular animal?
Wow. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because sometimes it will be because, like, for instance, the one animal I have never done is a tiger. And that in the Chinese calendar, I am born in the year of the tiger. And it's almost as if I'm too scared to do that, because I feel like I feel so close to that animal. So sometimes I don't pick the animal that I would really, really like to produce, because it just feels too intimate, perhaps. But I pick I picked things that either I've always wanted to do. Now, my last commission, which was a hummingbird, I had been wanting to do, and I'd been playing around with ideas of how to do it. So then when I was finally asked to do it, it was an absolute joy to do. But then I'm at the moment in the middle of a lion. And that is just because I suppose I just look at certain animals and think, there's something about you that I want to capture. And it changes, obviously, because we're all changing how we feel emotionally and everything at the time. So it can take me quite some time to do a sculpture. So sometimes I just don't feel, I suppose, in tune with that particular animal. So I leave it and then I come back to it. But there's no one thing other than the only connection between what I do is me and my thoughts and my emotions at that moment in time. But to be truthful, I love all animals. I can't think of an animal that I wouldn't want to do, really. So yeah, it's I don't really know, I suppose, is the answer to that question. Why do I pick one particular? I mean, once I get going on one, you know, I'm all in. But yeah, why I pick one? But I suppose there will come a day where someone asks me to do something as a commission, and I'm not able to do it because I don't feel in tune enough to do it. But yeah,
yeah, that hummingbird is absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah, I love doing it.
And I heard that you use non-wool fibers for that one.
Yeah. So obviously a hummingbird has that translucentness about the feathers, and to try and recapture that, wool can be quite dull. There are some merino wools which are fairly shiny, but to get that shininess, I had to go and use some rose fibers, which automatically have that shimmer on it. And also in the wings, because they had to be obviously incredibly thin, I used actually silk. But rose and bamboo were what I actually used in a lot of the body to get that. It's all about the effect, I suppose, really. And then somebody said to me the other day that obviously there are an awful lot of people who don't like the idea of using wool because they're either vegetarians or vegan, and so, you know, their lifestyle means they don't want. So you think, well, actually there's masses. And I just recently bought from my supplier some recycled plastic which looks just like wool, and for the core, not for the outside, but just obviously I always felt wool really solidly in the center and then make it pretty with all the lovely fibers. And I was using this recycled plastic, and my God, it felt solid. And I thought, wow, you know, you're going to have to be really careful not to actually do that too much, because otherwise it's like not going to be able to get anything in it. But brilliant, recycled plastic. I mean, that just with all our recycling and that kind of genre, you think, yeah, that's got huge possibilities. So I'm quite excited about using that.
Yeah. I've never heard of rose fibers before.
Oh.
Is it made from like the whole part of the rose, or?
I think it's the stem of the rose. Because you know, the bamboo fibers is from the stem of the bamboo, and you get nettles, and I'm trying to think all the other. But it's interesting how they're all so shiny in comparison to the animal wool, which is, you know, quite dull really. But I don't know the process they absolutely go through. But most of the shops that I get my fibers from are also shops which cater to the weaving side of things, where people have always used many different fibers in the weaving. But because obviously naturally felting is wool, I mean, because the whole process is that wool, if you put it under a microscope, has actually got scales on it, and your barbed needle, that's what helps them felt together. And even in wet felting, I always describe it as in if you put your jumper in the washing machine too hot and it goes to, that's the scales which have locked together and not pulling back out. But on things like even merino wool, they're actually quite soft, so they've got less scales, or sort of almost less jagged scales, so it's a harder process to felt, obviously, because it's like mixing up all the fibers. Well, that's the same then if you use rose fibers and everything. So it just takes a bit longer. But you just get all these different effects. It's just, you just I always think of wool as my paint. And it's like, all these new paints coming your way. And then you can dye them, so colour, which is grand.
Yeah, felting is kind of an old process, isn't it? Do you know when it first originated?
Wet felting's been around since the Egyptian times. So it goes back, way back when. But needle felting has obviously only been around since the industrial process, because the needles that we use are actually the needles out of the industrial machines, which used to be in beds and would go down onto the wall, make the flat wall that we get and that we cut out. So I think the first patent for one of those machines was like in the 1830s. But the actual using it for sculpting like we do now is only since like the 1980s. And it was a mistake where a group of people went round one of the industrial machines plants, and they said, oh, do you want to take some needles back with you? And they started playing around with it. So it's an incredibly young art form from that point of view of using it for sculpting. But wet felting, been around for donkey's years.
Yeah, I've seen felting work before, but I haven't seen it to as much detail as you put in. Like you're incredible detail.
Thank you. I mean, there are when I very first saw needle felting, I saw a sculpture of a fox that I thought, and it said underneath, sculpture, and I thought that must be a mistake because I can't even imagine what that's been made of. And I always thought of sculpting as, from clay and things like that. And then I looked into it and found it was this thing called needle felting. And there are, and in fact, there's about 2 or 3 Japanese artists. We've got 2 or 3 over here who do it to the level that I do, but they're sort of famous in the needle felting community, but nowhere else.
Exactly. Yeah, I haven't seen it.
And I think that's like one of my things. And with the Bloomz, it's like for all of us, not just for felting, but to get people to know about our art forms, because it's the only way, isn't it? We have these great communities going, well, we all think we're marvelous, but no one knows about us.
Oh, I have a question from Sammy. She says, do you have stories with your fabulous creations?
Oh, see, no, yes and no, as in sometimes we were saying about why would I do a particular creation. So there will always be perhaps a story, and the hummingbird that I did, which was a commission. And the wonderful story behind that is that a friend of mine, his very good friend died, and he believes that the hummingbirds which come into his garden and feed are his friend coming back to see him. And I think in this country, in the UK, we often think a robin is someone coming and visiting us, and where he is, it's hummingbirds. And so he sees that as a hummingbird. So then they asked me, and I did know this lady, this lovely lady. And so then when they asked me to actually needle felt the commission of the hummingbird, it was delightful because I not only knew the person it was going to, I knew the person it was representing, and I knew the person who were buying it. So it was this lovely creation, and I imagined them all, and the joy that we'd had when we met when I was making it. So it felt like such a joyous creation. But one of the things that I realized, because I'm no good at my perception is that I'm no good at sketching, but I've started playing around with, because when I'm like, for instance, for a commission like that, I had to do some sort of sketch to show that what I was actually going to be doing, so that she could say yes, that was the whole look that she wanted. But I thought I need to do something a bit more, because I know in fact Sammy, who asked the question, she's a wonderful abstract painter, and she does like pre-work which then goes into the bigger pieces. And I thought, yeah, I guess I need to think that through a bit more, because I do have those thoughts in my head. It would be quite good to put those down on paper. So rather than having a story, I'm a bit of a process girl, to be honest. And so I then look into, oh, right, you know, like for instance, the line I'm doing at the moment, what is it about the lion? And you look up about the lion and all the different types of lion and the issues that they have. So it's like, it's this whole story of what I've learnt about. So I think that kind of part, I should probably put it down so that I can actually share that this is all of the thoughts and everything that I've gone through that's actually gone into the creation. So not stories as such, but perhaps I think of it as a process, but I think it probably has a bit more romanticism to it than a just, it's not like a dot process. It's more me finding out stuff, and perhaps, you know, the little sketch that I do, I shouldn't be so ashamed of it.
It sounds more of like a research and study that you do.
Yeah, and that's me, you know, because I always, you know, I come from a background of IT and logic, and, you know, I've been an accountant. I mean, I've been an interior designer and things too. I definitely have these two halves of my brain where I have this logical side and this creative side. So I guess this is where they come together, because I have the logical side, which does all the research and does it all, and this is what I'm going to do. And then the creative side goes, and now I'm going to go wild.
It's the right and left brain combination you have going. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you always been into sculpting, the 3D, or have you done other artwork? Or?
No. I think because as a rule, when I was younger, and still now, really, as I say, I don't sketch that well. I don't paint that well, and so I loved creating things. So when I was younger, well, all the way through, I've always considered myself, oh, well, I'll just craft anything, you know, any new craft that comes out, I'll have a go at that, because I've never perceived myself, because to me, an artist was someone who paints. And so I never perceived anything that I did was anything other than crafting. But once I'd actually found the 3D form, I then realized that that's how I see things. And so when it came to doing sketches and paintings, of course it was difficult because I just don't really see things in 2D. So I really struggled with it. But I didn't think of it as a struggle. I just thought I'm useless at it. You know, I just can't do it. But now that I'm doing 3D and you think, oh, and like my friend who asked me to do the hummingbird, she said, so do you just take 2D things and turn them into 3D? And you think, yeah, I suppose I do, really. I just take the pictures and I turn them into 3D. And I don't think anything about that, because to me, that's natural. So you think, oh, okay. So I suppose also when I was an interior designer, I could always visualize the whole room. And I used to have to generate IT things, so that, you know, computer graphics, so that people could then visualize what their room would actually look like. In fact, it's the, you know, the Second Life program which exists app. I went into that and create a whole persona just so that I could use all the graphical interfaces to show people what their rooms would look like. But that's, and you realize, oh, that's how my brain works. I always visualize in 3D. So I haven't always done it. I haven't always appreciated that that's what I do, until I suppose I saw something like that needle felted fox, and I thought, I need to learn how to do that, because that is amazing. And so then you suddenly realize you're halfway there, because you already visualize in 3D. It's just a case of, you know, learning the techniques and things. So yeah.
But when did you get started in that? You've had a number of different careers going on, the interior design, and you've been in IT and all that.
Oh, yeah.
When did you start and why?
Yeah, so it was 3.5 years ago. And we had previously, I mean, so loads of businesses and working for myself and working for others. And we'd had an events business, which pretty much after, I think it was 3 years, we kind of realized we had a lot of debt, and there's no way it was going to ever catch up with each other. So we had to actually stop it. So that's like a huge stop in your life when you realize something that you put your heart and soul into, because basically we love doing shows, but this was us arranging shows. And of course, I have to tell you, there was no joy and there was no alignment. But because we just found ourselves dealing with all the rubbish, you know, because of course, when you're running something like that, all you get are the comments and the bad things and everything you need to do. So anyway, we had to shut it down. I had to do everything to pay off the debts and everything. But it makes you stop and think, what am I doing? You know, what do I really want to do? What's going to make me happy? And, you know, at one point I even thought, do you know, I think I'll go and live in a hut by the sea, which is bizarre because I hate the water. Why would you do that? But it's almost as if when you've tried everything you think you like, you try something else. So, oh God! So it was in that those times of thinking, what on earth, that I just considered anything, and because you suddenly open yourself up to everything, you think, yeah, why not that? And I started just doing it, and it just very quickly became that was my thing. And we started then doing shows and selling them and that. And Steve, my partner, very quickly said, this is what you need to be doing. This is the thing. So we still have the publishing business, which he runs. And I then got into just focus, because obviously, like everything, you don't suddenly become good at something. You need to learn your skill and hone it. And, you know, I still do courses and things like that as well, but just need to build up that skill level to get to where you're, you know, well, I think when you create art, you're always looking at the next thing. So, and as people always say, don't look back, because that was you then and this is you now, because you are like this evolution, aren't you? You're this process of moving. So, yeah.
Always learning.
Yeah, always. Absolutely. Which is what I love about this particular form, because you can never completely master it. You're always looking at new ways to do things, new effects to get, or, you know, you see something and think, oh, how do they do that? And yeah, so all cool.
Oh, one question or one comment from Sammy. Absolutely, that would be fantastic research to share. And you're talking about.
Okay, right. So I should think about that then, Sammy, how I'm going to do that. Yeah, definitely.
So you are the creative genius behind the Bloomz Zoom show.
See, that's funny. I think of myself as the loudmouth techie control freak. Just a different view of it, yeah.
So, what do you see happening in the future with the Bloomz?
Wow. Well, it's such an innovative way of doing what we're doing, actually taking art to people, that it's got to, like everything, be a slow build for people to come into our world. But the way I see it is that, because the reason we're doing this is because obviously we want to, as we've said, share our art and what we do with the rest of the world. But equally, we want to find our collectors and people who like our stuff, so that, you know, they're looking for us, we're looking for them. This is a lovely way to actually mix it. And at the moment, as we say, the tickets are free because we want to get as many people to come and see us. But once this way of doing it, this show gets out there and more people come, the way I see it is there's going to be waiting lists, and we're going to need to start getting some guest artists, because we're always going to be the Bloomz, it's always going to be us, but we will invite guest artists to come in just to fill in some gaps or add some extra. But the way I would see it is that then a later date, we will, the reason we will have to do something like charge for tickets is just because anything, if you give them free, people will not turn up because they weren't invested in it. I'm not talking a lot of money, but I'm just thinking, even if you've paid £5 for something, you're a bit more invested in it than if you've paid nothing, so you're actually going to turn up. And so I think we're going to have waiting lists. I think it's going to be one of those things where, because we launch our collections at these 3 shows in the year, I just think we're going to be selling out of our tickets, be it free sellout or so just no more tickets available. Once one show's over, I think the next one's going to be full, because it's I absolutely think I mean, if I wasn't an artist, I'd want to be in there coming to see everybody and meet, because all of the things, in fact, I wrote some of the things down that people were saying after the last event. It was such a success, and they were saying things like it was an intimate setting, that they, you sort of think, how weird is that on a computer you could feel like you were involved intimately. But of course, people are actually coming in and seeing our studios, and all over the world. I mean, where could you go and see international artists actually in their studios in one collection, in one art show? So yeah, it was intimate, that they felt like they had this personal look around, non-pressurized and friendly. So you just think it's a no-brainer that we think people would want to come. But like everything, it's just got to grow gradually, because what we don't want is to have this a show where there's 100 artists, people come along, could never actually get a chance to go around to see it. We want it to be intimate. We want people to want to come and see us. We would love to find our collectors. But if someone just wants to come and talk to me about needle felting, or you about your angels, or Julie about her, encaustic wax, that's great too, because we're actually doing that bit, which is we're getting people to know. But I think this is going to be the way of doing art shows, even when the pandemic is over, because it's a win-win. It's not about it's not about us or the collectors getting something more than anybody else. This is a win-win. It's artists and collectors coming together.
Sammy says, I best tidy up my studio.
Yes. Well, you only have to tidy up a bit of it, like me, just this bit. You don't need to see
back.
It's Renata who shows everyone around her whole studio.
I know, yeah. So, what are you going to be showing at the show?
Yeah. So my until now, I've been pretty much focusing on the absolute realism. So, getting the exact colours of nature. My thing is that I'm sculpting a moment in the life of. It's not just a sculpture. It's that, hopefully capture that emotion of that moment of that living being. But the way I see animals is I see them as colourful, and obviously when they're in their environment they're camouflaged, but like us, they have souls and personalities, and I think, and I see those, and I see them as colour. So my new range that I'm bringing out and will be showing in January is my interpretation of the animals. It will still have that fine detail, but it will be colourful, how I see the colours of those animals. So yeah. And I don't
love
know
colour.
Yeah, exactly. And the great thing is I don't know what they're going to look like either.
Beautiful. That's going to be exciting.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm excited about it. Yeah.
So how can people get in touch with you?
Okay. So I have my website, which is stephanie-lester.co.uk. And that's Lester, Lester. I have my Facebook page, which is Stephanie Lester Artist, and Instagram and LinkedIn. But we'll put all of our links below so that everyone can click through to them too. And we'll be sharing this around, hopefully, all the different social medias and everything that exist. Spreading ourselves wide. Yeah. Okay, right. So I think we are just looking at my little list. I think we're done, aren't we, Anne-Marie? Did you have anything else?
I think so. That was all I had.
Yeah, excellent. Well, hopefully everybody feels like they've got to know us a bit better. And as I say, we've got another couple of artists coming up on Saturday at 4 o'clock UK time, and then the following Thursday and Saturday, etc. But in the meantime, if you want to find out about us, then go to the Bloomz with a z.co.uk and you can get your tickets there as well. So, and we look forward to welcome you at the Bloomz Art Show. Okay, so goodbye, everybody.
Thank you very much. It's been fun, Stephanie.
It's been great. Excellent, Anne-Marie.
Bye-bye. Have a great day.